Welcome to another edition of the Nostra Gamer. Bib is here today because we're going to take a look at some alien action in Xenophobe for your Nintendo Entertainment System, featuring label art that features a fearsome alien that is so strong he can bust through stickers. How about that? Let's go ahead and take Xenophobe, pop it into my NES, and see how this edition holds up. Let's go to the game. Xenophobe was published by Sunsoft and carries a copyright year of 1988. It is based on the 1987 Bally Midway arcade game. Xenophobe is a split-screen, multi-room action game for one or two players simultaneously, with the first player using the top screen and the second player using the bottom. There is only one standard mode of difficulty, but even though it doesn't change the gameplay, you can pick from three characters: Dr. Quack, Mr. Fogg, or Dr. Zorders. Actually, the last two are just window dressing because we all know that everybody picks Dr. Quack. In a two-player game, both players play as the same character with different colored clothes. The goal of Xenophobe is to clear several space stations of aliens called Xenos. Sadly, the manual gives no backstory to Dr. Quack. They must be saving that for the prequel. At the beginning of the game, your ship travels to one of 8 space stations, which contain anywhere from 1 to 4 floors. Once transported on a space station, you take control of your character, blasting aliens and picking up objects dropped by aliens you defeat. You use left and right on your D-pad to move your character likewise, B to fire your weapon, and A to jump. If you want to crawl, which will help you hit smaller enemies, you have to push down and A. When crawling, if you have a bomb, you can throw it by pressing down and A again. Bombs are powerful, but they have to land near their target to be effective, and the control scheme made it really difficult for me to be effective with them, so for the most part I ignored using them during the game. To stand when you're in a crouched position, you have to press A again. Occasionally you may notice buttons on the wall. When next to elevators, you can press A to call them. Once inside the elevator, you can press A with up or down on the D-pad to go up or down a level. If you press A to activate a button in a room without an elevator, it will transport you to another room in the station. If an enemy drops something, you can pick it up by pressing A when standing over it. Items like the tool, paper, skull, ID card, knife, and futuristic 5 1/4 floppy disk will give you points. The flask, test tube, and coffee cup will give you health points, and you can also pick up a bomb to add to your invisible inventory if you see one. Sometimes enemies will drop guns. You start the game with the weakest weapon, the phaser gun. However, you can pick up stronger ones. From weakest to strongest, you can also get the rapid fire laser pistol, the medium range lightning gun, and the short range smoke gun. I found that an enemy dropping a weapon was rare, and sadly if you find one, you cannot take it with you to the next space station, as you are always forced to start each station with the weak phaser. You also need to be careful when picking up weapons, because once you pick up a weapon you cannot switch back, even if you accidentally downgrade your weapon like I did once while playing. The space station contains 5 types of Xenos and enemies. The weakest include the face-hugger-like critters, the flying laser balls, and the giant slime amoeba that can climb on ceilings. The 2 strongest aliens are the large snotterpillar that can also spit on you, and the spideron that hangs from the ceiling and drops deadly bombs on you. There are 2 ways to complete a space station. One involves simply lasting long enough for the space station to self-destruct itself as you get transported off. The next way is to blast enough aliens until one of them drops a glowing circle that also ends your round, but gives you more health and bonus points at the end. It seems the best way to find the circle is to defeat 2 or 3 enemies in each room and then move on to another room. In this version of Xenophobe, defeated enemies are constantly being replaced with new ones that simply appear, unlike other versions of the game where new enemies enter the room through the doors. However, it seems that only the first 2 or 3 enemies in each room are able to drop items. At the end of each level, you get bonus points for items you picked up. In a weird sense of scoring, you seem to get bonus points not only for the objects you picked up in the current space station, but you also get credit for objects you picked up in previous space stations at the end of each round. You start the game with 1,000 health points. You lose points for getting hit by enemies and bombs, as well as touching energy walls or touching slime falling from the ceiling. You can also gain health points by picking up some of the previously covered items and successfully finding the glowing circle. Lose all your health points and your game is over. The game itself is never ending. It simply loops after 8 space stations. However, you can only reach a maximum score of 999,990 points, at which point the game stops adding points to your score. Graphically speaking, I liked Dr. Quack, but I didn't like the color palette they used for the rooms, as I thought they were often too light or pastel looking for the game, and sometimes things seemed to blend in together too much. I also wish the space stations didn't look the same from the outside. Music and sound wise, I like the opening music and the music in between levels, but there is no music during gameplay and I found the sound effects lacking. Family friendly wise, there is a lot of animated space blasting action and skulls you can pick up, but there is no blood in the game. On eBay, loose copies go for about $5 to $6. Complete copies were selling for $12 to $25, and new copies were selling for $33 to $50, and those prices as always include shipping. So what did I think of Xenophobe for the NES? Well, I didn't care for the controls, especially having to press A to get into a crawling position. It also lost too much of the feel of the arcade game and other versions for my taste. I miss being able to really clear space stations and miss some aliens like the roller baby that are in other versions of the game. And not being able to carry a new gun with you to the next station seemed kinda cheap. I also found the game too easy to master, as I was able to reach the maximum possible score after only a few gameplay sessions. And yes, this game can get monotonous. In my opinion, it also pales to the Atari 7800 version, which I just reviewed in my last episode. The NES version does a better job in the music department and character selection and better jumping controls, but the 7800 version has better background, sound effects, space stations, difficulty settings, and controls as far as ducking and throwing the grenades go. It also allows you to self-destruct the space station by yourself, something this version only does automatically. So where am I going to rank Xenophobe? Well, it's going to be close to Rampage, another lackluster arcade port I reviewed in episode 230. Both can become monotonous, but I do think Xenophobe offers a little bit more to do, and I did enjoy blasting enemies more than destroying buildings, so I'm going to make Xenophobe my new number 20 ranked game on the NES. Xenophobe on the NES lacks the polish to put it above other ports of the game. If you enjoy retro-related videos, would you please click the like and subscribe buttons. Also be sure to check out some of my many other videos covering Atari, Sega, Nintendo, and more. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the next episode of The No Swear Gamer. Take care and never touch falling slime.